Dear colleagues, distinguished experts, it is a great pleasure and honor to talk today to you on the issue of accountability for the core international crimes committed in Ukraine during the Russian aggression. The Russian Federation started the brutal war of aggression against Ukraine in February 2014 and has another stage of this aggression started in February 2022 with a full-scale invasion to the territory of Ukraine. These 9 years have been marked by the brutal mass atrocity crimes, including war crimes, crimes against humanity, genocide committed by Russian soldiers, Russian citizens in the territory of Ukraine. Ukraine uses each and every possible opportunity to bring perpetrators of those horrible crimes to responsibility. In particular, Ukrainian law enforcement agencies, Prosecutor General's office are very active in investigating and prosecuting and bringing to justice the perpetrators of these crimes. Also, Ukraine has recognized the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court, and now the Office of the Prosecutor of the ICC conducts investigation of the situation in Ukraine. We hope that this investigation will have deliverables, in particular indictments and arrest warrants issued to the citizens of the Russian Federation for commission of war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide in the territory of Ukraine. But using existing tools are not enough, because there are at least two gaps, two loopholes in the system of international accountability when we talk about core international crimes committed in the territory of Ukraine. The first gap is the absence of the accountability mechanism for the crime of aggression against Ukraine. Currently, there is no international court or tribunal which can bring perpetrators of the crime of aggression against Ukraine to responsibility. Therefore, we need to close this gap and establish a special tribunal which will be able to work to have jurisdiction over the crime of aggression against Ukraine. Ukraine is working effectively and actively on this issue for a year now, and we have already got political support from parliamentary assemblies of international organizations, from European Parliament, from national parliaments of our partner states, in official positions and in official statements by many governments, in the EU Council conclusions, in the resolutions which were adopted throughout the world. And we hope that we will succeed in our endeavor, in our effort, and the special tribunal will be established. It is important, while we are still in the process of finding the best possible ways and solutions for the establishment of the tribunal, it is important to make intermediary steps in order to have intermediate result of this work. So that is why it is important to have the establishment and the start of the work of the International Center for the Prosecution of the Crime of Aggression against Ukraine in The Hague this year, as it was announced that this center may start operations in July of 2023. This center will be linked to the currently existing joint investigation team and will be supported by Eurojust. This is a very important international effort which will concentrate on investigation of the crime of aggression against Ukraine with international support, with the help of international element, and we hope that this investigation may then form a basis for the work of the future special tribunal. It is also important to cover the second gap, which is the lack of the compensation mechanism, the international mechanism which may deal with compensations for damages and losses caused by the Russian aggression. And that is why it is important also to close this gap and to establish such a compensation mechanism with the establishment of the register of damage, which will register the claims of natural persons, legal entities, governmental entities, and then the future compensation mechanism will be able to use the applications from that register of damage. So in order to achieve full comprehensive accountability, we are sure that we need to close these two existing gaps in the system of international accountability. It is also important that Russian aggression against Ukraine and the horrible crimes which the Russian Federation commit against our people are not something new. Russians have already done this throughout the history. And I cannot make myself of this opportunity to try to talk and to bring to your attention the issue of genocide of Ukrainians, which now is being taken by the Russian soldiers, Russian citizens in particular, by deportation, forced transfer, forced deportation of Ukrainian children to Russia, and that this genocide really looks as a continuation of the genocide which happened in 1930s, in particular in 1932, in 1933, in the form of Holodomor of Ukrainian people. The Russian Federation wages this war, which is targeted at annihilation of Ukrainian nation. And that is why it is important to recognize Holodomor as a genocide of Ukrainian nation, Ukrainian people, and also to prove the genocidal character of this war, which the Russian Federation now wages against Ukraine, against Ukrainian nation. I am sure that together with the assistance and support from our international partners, we will deal with this issue, we will handle with it, and we will be using, as we do now, all the currently existing tools and mechanisms and instruments to bring Russian citizens to responsibility for the core international crimes committed in the territory of Ukraine. And we will also do all that we can in order to close the existing legal gaps, legal loopholes in the accountability system, and to establish the special tribunal for the crime of aggression against Ukraine and the international compensation mechanism. I thank you.